Good afternoon. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Oklahoma City Board of Adjustment for December 7th, 2017. Before I call the meeting to order, just a couple of quick reminders. If you have cell phones, if you could switch those to silent, that would be much appreciated. Also, if you are an applicant, when your case is called, if you'll come up and just give your name and address for the record. If you have thoughts or you want to talk on a case before us today, just be sure, if you haven't already, one of these little slips of paper that's on the front table out there. If you'd fill one of those out, that would be great. And with that, before we begin, I'd like to welcome Samuel Merchant. He joins us on the board today for his first meeting, so if you have really hard questions, direct those to him. And with that, we'll go to our first item. So welcome, Sam. Thank you. Receive the minutes of the November 2nd, 2017 meeting.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to receive the minutes of the November 2nd, 2017 meeting. Please cast your votes, please. And the minutes are received. Next item is continuous requests or withdrawals from staff.
I have three items today being continued. First is item 1, case number 14416, item 13, 14374, and item 14, 14422. All three request deferral to January 4th.
Is there anyone here who was hoping to be heard on those matters today? Again, that's case 14416, and then also case number 14374 and 14422. No? No objections? I'd take a motion on each item.
I'll move to continue those.
Second. There you go. I have a motion and a second to continue case number 14416, 14374, and 14422 to the January 4th, 2018 meeting. Please cast your votes, please. And those items are continued.
Okay, first item for public hearing is item 2, case number 14420, request for variance to the condition that for auto sales cannot be allowed on an arterial street less than 300 feet of public right-of-way when across from residential, located at 6001 South Shields Boulevard.
Name is Ali Raza Ali. Address is 6001 South Shields Boulevard.
Okay. Tell us about your application.
Well, sir, my application is for used auto sales at 6000 South Shields Boulevard. And it's zoned I-1. We're requesting a variance because the site directly across that is zoned residential, is not being used for residential. It is a Wilson's used auto sales as well. So we're asking for a variance to turn that site into a used auto sales.
What was the site being used for before?
A gas station. So it is zoned commercial, but it's not zoned the correct commercial.
How long has it not been operating as a gas station?
Almost 2 years now.
And I guess you were told by staff that your use would be allowed, but for
this variance, correct.
Okay. Board members, questions for the applicant?
Anybody here to speak on this matter?
Is there anybody here that wants to be heard on this matter today? No?
There's nobody here to protest the application. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the variance for case number 14420. Please cast your votes, please. And your application is approved.
Thank you.
Item 3, case 14424, request of Anthony and Cassandra Phillips for a variance to the minimum 150 foot of frontage in the AA Agricultural District located at 10701 Eastway.
Hello, my name is Anthony Phillips, 10701 Eastway, McLeod, Oklahoma. I'm here to get approved for a variance on a piece of property we bought 2 years ago. It's 9 acres, but the frontage road property is only 136 wide, 136 foot wide. It needs to be 150, which was stated back in 1977, approved by the state of Oklahoma. So we bought the land to build a house, and the state of Oklahoma says we can't get a permit because of the frontage road property is too short.
Out of curiosity, did you purchase the property from the folks that own the home that fronts Eastway here?
No, this land was split up 20 years ago.
Okay.
and the land came up for sale from the people that own that house, and they split it. And then it's been that way ever since, so it came up for sale 2 years ago, so we bought it, purchased it in order to build a house, and that's what we're trying to do.
Board members, questions for the applicant? Is there anybody else who wants to be heard on this matter today? No more discussion. I'll take a motion.
I move approval. Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14424. Please cast your votes, please. Application is approved.
All right, thank you.
Item 4, case number 14425, request of Linda Rupert for a variance to the maximum 24-foot width for a carport in the R1 district located at 6600 Newman Drive.
I have,
Ma'am, could you pull that microphone down just a little bit? There you go.
I have a strange carport. The thing that sticks out in the middle of that property is my carport, and my driveway is even more peculiar. My husband is now an invalid, and I have hard time loading him into the car and trying to back out. So I originally wanted, in fact, I came and got a permit for my flower bed. When I did, I mentioned to the permit people I was going to build a carport and probably would need one. They, in turn, told me if I don't go over so many feet over that garage onto the city property, they would just attach it on with the flower bed. However, it didn't work out that way. In the association, the covenant, there's a rule you can't have more than one carport. Therefore, I, again, thought about it and talked to the man. We live on the lake for Briar Creek Lake Association, Jack, and we decided I could extend the existing roof of that carport and just acquired the same thing. So that's what I'm wanting to do. Extend it to the edge of the garage, where the garage begins, and just be covered.
Board members, questions for the applicant?
I'm afraid I'm going to have to oppose your request. I understand you try to care for your husband properly, but to me, I mean, you know, it's prohibited in your neighborhood. Your neighbors object to it.
Well,
it's a considerable.
Did you get his letter?
We got a packet.
I don't know who his
Jack?
letter is pertaining to,
Jack
but
is here.
he'll have to speak on his own behalf.
Okay.
Yeah.
But my inclination is not to support your application, in spite of, is not to support your request.
So what do you suggest that I do to extend the roof on the carport?
You may not be able to.
Okay.
Are there there's a number of people who have signed up to speak, and I want to give them a chance to be heard. So if there's no more questions for the applicant, I want to call up a couple of people. So.
Okay.
The first person that I have is, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, but Jack Solentrop? Nailed it, all right. A couple of things real quick. I know that in some of the letters we received, there was some discussion in those letters about violations of the neighborhood HOA covenants and restrictions. That matter is not before us to consider. It's just a private matter. We're only concerned about the issue as it relates to the variance and the ordinance that's specific to that. So,
Okay, so you're saying our covenants have no bearing over this at all?
not over this hearing specifically, sir. It's not because we don't care. It's because that's outside of our purview. Those are private agreements between outside parties, and so we can't. Those are not a factor in our decision. Does that make sense?
No,
Okay. Well,
because we're held to those covenants, and that's the,
I understand.
my name's Jack Solentrop. I'm the Briar Creek Lake president. 9804 Newman Circle. That's my primary motivation for being here, is to see that our covenants are upheld. What she is wanting, originally she started building without permits in front of her 3-car garage, which got shut down because they specifically stipulate no building in front of the building line. She then come back and started talking about building behind the line, which I don't see any. I haven't seen any plans. There's no architect plans whatsoever. We don't have anything to know what it looks like at all. She seems to think she can get a permit and just start building things without knowing what it's going to look like from an elevation point or structure at all. That's our biggest objection. We've got not only neighbors on the lake, because her neighbors across the street from her are in a different association, but they're complaining as well. And the reason why she can't apparently load her husband into the car, that is a circle driveway that goes there, but she has 4 to 5 cars that she owns that are there in the driveway all the time. Plus her employees, because she's operating a real estate business out of the house, she has at least 2 employees that come in and are parked there during the day. Her 3-car garage is full. She doesn't want to clean it out. That's why she wants to extend her roof line. I've got too many objections with our covenants, and from all the neighbors in the surrounding area, I just can't support it.
Okay. Thank you very much. I also have Susan Brown has signed up to speak.
I apologize. My allergies are horrible. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Our concern with this variance
Ms. Brown, what is your address, just for the record?
I'm sorry. I live at 7008 Basswood Canyon Road,
Thank you.
also in the Briar Creek neighborhood. I have received no less than 20 to 25 calls from the neighbors in the neighborhood that are extremely worried about the permission to do this variance. The Briar Creek neighborhood is a great little neighborhood, but it's still an older area of the city at this point in the northwest side. There is a delicate balance on whether that neighborhood declines or holds its own or improves. And so we are concerned about someone adding a carport without plans, without seeking an architect, without having quality construction people do the work, and how that would look in the overall aesthetics of the neighborhood and affect property values for the overall neighborhood. I heard her statement that she is wanting to load Hal and her husband Hal into a vehicle, and that she does have a 2-car width in that circle drive. The entrance is an architectural designed entrance. It's not, I don't think that's actually a carport. It's just an awning that goes over and aesthetically contributes to the look of her entryway. And so trying to add an additional structure off to the right, hence her drawing, which is just a Google Earth picture that somebody took a pencil and wrote on, which is a cause for concern. It's not an architectural drawing by a contractor, a licensed, bonded, quality contractor. I did speak with an architect yesterday who called me back yesterday, and he has grave concerns about trying to do that and have it look aesthetically correct with the roof laying the way that it is. So my biggest concern is not her extending the width of that. It's, has she consulted an architect? Is it a quality drawing? Is it with quality construction and quality materials? Or is it going to just be something unsightly that's going to decline property values for the entire neighborhood?
Okay. Thank you very much. Just 1 minute, please. Is there anybody else that would like to be heard on this matter that did not sign up? Because those are the only 2 slips I have. Okay. You can come back up if you'd like to.
Whether I get it or not, it's okay with me. But Jack had come over several times, and Susan as well. And as I understand it from my attorney, I'm not a part of Susan's. She is just a Briar Creek itself. It's a very small community. and I am not a part of her association. I'm on the lake, and Jack is the Lake Association. He, as much as told me so. But I've had both of them. They never came and said, you just absolutely can't do it. I got this and that from both sides. And no, I've lived there 16 years. Anything I've done to improve my property has not been a shoddy job. I would never make such an investment and bring down the value of my own home. The neighborhood is shabby, except for a few homes. It's old. Things are falling down. People don't care, really don't care about their property so much anymore. I did want it so I could load my husband, who is an invalid. He's 92 with a terrible heart condition. When he became an invalid almost 3 years ago, I had to take over the company. I had to get a pickup truck so I could get supplies, load it up, and sometimes it's still supplies in there. I need to back up into something covered. The garage is full because he has a Model A, which I am not going to get rid of as long as he lives. He loves that car. I will not do it. So, with just the first one coming off the garage, I didn't know you couldn't even call it a carport. It was only a few feet, just enough to cover the back end of a garage. And they said, you're really not asking for a variance. We'll just attach it to your flower bed permit. And yes, I understand if you deny it. But like I said, I can't pull up a blade of grass. I'm on the corner where everybody passes that somebody doesn't know. And in 16 years, I've never turned anybody in or bothered anybody. And I've seen plenty. Never. Not even in the lake. I saw a certain couple of friends, fishermen, about 12 years ago, right off of our wall. We're on the corner by the bridge. The water overflows down under the bridge. Stand up and urinate toward the wall. I took a picture. My husband told me, get rid of that picture. I never call. I mind my own business. We have 2 people who come to help me on and off in the office. My grandchildren. We have 2 caretakers who come to help me with them during the day while I work. So whatever they say and accuse me of, they really haven't come and spoken to me completely, either one of them. And I don't have to answer to Susan, although she is a wonderful girl.
Ma'am, I understand your frustration, and I want to be clear that our comment or our ruling today is not reflective of our lack of concern or care for what you're dealing with personally. That's not.
I am not frustrated. I wanted to clear the air a little bit.
I understand. My issue with the application, as I mentioned to the protestants, is that the issues involving the HOA have no bearing here. What has bearing here is that there's an ordinance, and that ordinance is codified in section 12200.3A6, and it requires that carports not exceed 24 feet in width. Okay? And then in order to get an exception from that ordinance, there are 4 elements of a variance that have to be substantiated. And I don't see here that any of those elements have been met. A hardship, a peculiarity of the piece of property involved, relief would not cause a substantial detriment to the public good, and it's the minimum necessary to alleviate the hardship.
What are the requirements?
I just read them.
Those are it?
Those are them, yep. And so because of that, I can't support your application either.
That's fine.
Yep. So is there any more discussion, board members?
If there's no more discussion, I'd make a motion to deny the application.
Second.
Oh, by the way, there was a confusion in applying for the permit. I was told,
Ma'am,
oh, sorry. I was told several things from the permit people. Go ahead and apply. We almost never deny anybody. Do you keep my money?
you'll have to circle back with city staff. I can't comment on that. I'm sorry. I have a motion and a second to deny case number 14425. Please cast your votes, please. And the application is denied.
Item 5, case number 14426, request of Shannon Fritz for a variance to permit a sign located in the street right-of-way in the DVD district located at 499 West Sheridan Avenue.
Applicant present?
The applicant asked I be here on his behalf. He had unanticipated business travel. Shannon Fetz wasn't available. My name is Peter Lau, L-A-U. The address is 333 West Sheridan Avenue. There's a typo in the agenda. It's not Fritz. The application was filed under F-E-T-Z, Fetz. So just pointing that out. So we're requesting permission to put a loading dock sign in the right-of-way. It's on Walker Avenue between south of Main Street, north of Sheridan. There's an alleyway that we need to use to get access to the building loading dock for the 499 Sheridan Avenue project that we're finishing up. We've been careful to place that loading dock sign out of the walk path, the ADA required walk path. It's close to the curb where a tree is also going to be, so it's below the tree canopy, so it's visible. It's quite short. It's only 3 feet high, 2 feet wide, so we're asking permission to place that sign in the right-of-way. It'll say loading dock, and it'll be illuminated at night for visibility.
Board members?
I have no objection. If there's no discussion or nobody here to speak on this application, I would make a motion to approve.
I'll just note for the record real quick, in this instance, too, these cases are sort of unique in that when they come before us to build these things, they've got to build essentially to the right-of-way.
Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
And so that's a unique element here. It essentially limits where wayfinding signs can be located. So
Correct. Thank you. That was a
sympathetic to
key
that.
premise of the request.
And
I apologize.
furthermore, the DDRC has already reviewed this and approved.
Yep, good point.
Thank you.
So, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14426. Please cast your votes, please. Your application is approved.
Thank you.
Item 6, case 14427, request of Harris Shearer for a variance to the minimum 5-acre lot size in the AA district located at 12904 Southwest 119th Street.
Yes, I am Harris Shearer, and I'm asking for the variance to the property. It was built in,
Sir, can you confirm your address just for the record, please?
that is 12904 Southwest 119th Street,
Thank you.
Mustang, Oklahoma. It's not 5 acres of property when I bought it. It's built in '67. And I guess the family that lived out there at the time owned a lot of land. They did split up some acreage out there. But that's the best use for the house is basically the way it is. It's been there for years that way. Nobody's really made a complaint so far, and I don't really see any problem. The legal description is the only good use for the property. There's a section road to the north, lawn standing, owner to the south, a railroad right away to the east, and creek to the west. The best use of the subject property, other for what it is now. The owner would not be allowed to the current property in its current state without the variance, which I just bought the property, so that's why I'm asking for the variance.
You purchased the property from the granddaughter?
Yes.
Is that right? So the
Daughter or granddaughter,
Okay.
yes.
okay. So the property was essentially given to her, and then you purchased it from her?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Board members, questions?
I never like cases like this because how long ago did you buy the land?
A couple months ago, not the land, the house and the property.
What's the notification process for when he closed and purchased that? Was there anything, any notification for him to have known that there was a 5-acre minimum? So he bought it not knowing that 5-acre minimum requirement existed. That's a bad.
Yes.
The other thing, too, is when you buy out there knowing that those are 5-acre minimum lots, you buy it with the expectation that you're going to have that much land around. And there are people that they want that 5-acre or more, lot size around for that kind of separation between their neighbors. But I just, if somebody makes a well-intentioned offer and a purchase and they buy it and there's absolutely nothing to disclose this requirement, I mean, it's hard to fault him. So
I agree.
I hate to see these, and I hate to see, that 5-acre minimum be eroded for your benefit and the neighbors. I mean, because if this happens, then somebody comes along and they've got 1 3/4 acres, and it was the same circumstance, they didn't know, and it makes it easier for them to prevail and ask for a variance request too. So I'm going to reluctantly support your application, but I just want you to know that I regret that we find ourselves in this situation, that you find yourself in this situation.
Other comments, board members? Is there anybody else here that wants to be heard on this matter today? If not, I will take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14427. Please cast your votes, please. And the application is approved.
Thank you.
Item 7, case 14428, application for special exception to allow a child care center in the R1 district located at 17,001 Northwestern Avenue.
Hello, my name is Imran Rad, 3603 Bella Vista Drive, Midwest City, and I'm representing Ominder Chahal. She couldn't make it today, so she asked me to represent her. So this is a request for a special exception to build a child care center in R1 single-family residential.
This item before us is a special exception, so the conditions that we review it under are different from those of a variance.
Yes.
Board members, do we have any questions for the applicant? Is there anybody here that wants to be heard on this matter today? If there's no additional discussion, I'll take a motion.
Make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second. I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14428. Please cast your votes, please. The application is approved.
Thank you.
Item 8, case number 14429, request of public storage for a variance to the minimum 50-foot frontage to an approved street in the C3 district located at 1530 Southwest 119th Street.
I'm Aaron Rader with Kimley Horn at 13829 Technology Drive. Public Storage couldn't be here today, so I'm here representing them as their civil engineer. This is a piece of property. Public Storage bought that from Switzer Locker Room a few years back, and they currently lease part of the commercial property that's just to the north of them there for their office building. They are going around in places like this, and what we're doing is renovating 3 of their existing storage units to turn into office space on the mini storage site. basically right where her cursor is right now. The property that they purchased, which is just where the mini storage is, does not have access to 119th Street. And so the way that the access is granted right now is through a 30-foot easement that you can see on the property that was part of the deed and is recorded as part of the easements in Cleveland County. And so they were requesting the variance from having this piece of property be fronting the street so that they can have access to their use of their office building. That'll be located, like I said, right there at that northwest corner of the mini storage unit.
Board members, questions for the applicant? I do have one question. So at no point, a lot of times they'll develop the developers who come in, and I think you said it was Switzer, did they originally develop the shopping center as well as the mini storage facility behind it? And then subsequently you acquired the...
Correct. Sooner Traditions owns the shopping center. It was labeled as a shopping center, and they're the ones that obviously built and maintain Switzer Locker Room. And so Public Storage has actually done this in quite a few places. We're doing one in Broken Arrow and a few in Texas where they're doing this and purchasing mini storages and trying to consolidate their office so they're not paying lease for an office space and can have the office on their site.
Yeah. I would note, too, even though, again, this is a private issue, but there is a recorded 30-foot easement in public records. It's on this property. So.
And I have copies if anybody needs a copy of that.
Is there anybody else here that wants to be heard on this matter today? If none, board members, I'll take a motion.
I move approval.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14429. Please cast your votes, please. The application is approved.
Thank you very much.
Item 9, request of the City of Oklahoma City for numerous variances, being the requirement that the first 2 floors of any new construction be at or within 10 feet of the right-of-way, maximum fence height, fence material, maximum size of directional signs to permit a sign in the street right-of-way, maximum number of signs, and the display area for freestanding signs in the DBD district located at 500 South Robinson Avenue.
Good afternoon. I'm Kevin Cook with Populous. I'm project architect for the Convention Center Group. I'm here representing the city and maps group for the Convention Center. So I have a small presentation here to go through with you guys. I don't know, most of you have probably been keeping an eye on things with what's in the newspaper and stuff. I thought I'd give you guys a quick summary of the building and then go through these specific items that was listed here. So can I use that? Definitely not lit up. There you go. Okay. Thank you. Sorry about that. So the Convention Center is a 500,000 square foot building. It's 3 levels, as you can see here, and the program for the building is a 200,000 square foot exhibit hall space, which is at the ground floor, shown in yellow there. It then has 45,000 square feet of meeting space, shown in those blocks of green that face Robinson Street, and then a 30,000 square foot ballroom, which is on the upper level, overlooks the park. So you can see the stacking relationship here on the diagrams. So the exterior view of the building, what you're seeing here this would be the northwest corner of the building, across the street from the park. You're seeing the meeting space, one of the groups of meeting space. Those are elevated. They've got glazing to let you have views out into the park. And then in the middle there with the large roof canopy is the balcony that's adjacent to the ballroom level. Here's another view just going a little bit farther to the south along Robinson Street, getting to see kind of the main entry space of the building. You'll see the deep overhangs of the roof canopies and the balcony level, and kind of the inset areas where pedestrians would enter the building and come out after events. This is the southern end. There's another set of meeting blocks down at the southern end. meeting spaces that are stacked, a different configuration, but very similar to the north one where you have views out to the park again. And then just another quick overall view of kind of that from a higher level. You can start to see we put a lot of our attention, obviously, on Robinson Street and the views out to the park. You can kind of get a glimpse there of the north facade, which is between that and the Omni Hotel, which is being done by others. That space, you're starting to see the side of the exhibit hall and the sides where we put less emphasis, but there's still nice enhancements in the paving and other things, landscape around the sides of the building. This is the view from Shields, so you'd be looking north here and you're getting to see the east end of the building. The east end is our service end of the building, the loading dock area, and one of the items is the screenage for this. You can start to see a little bit of that screenage. It'd be the lower fence line there, and then we have some mechanical units on the roof that are also being screened.
That screenage you're referring to, that's about the middle of the page, or the middle of the, what was the slide there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it runs the entire length. The gates and everything are all made of.
And that's the material that you're getting the variance for, is that?
It is that, it's height in the material, and this would be a sample of the material.
Okay.
I think it's just a little bit different than what's maybe called out in the regulations, is the only reason. This is looking straight north from Robinson. You start to see the southern end of the building and some future parking, surface parking there on the building. This is the end of the building that can expand in the future. So the intent is to not put a lot of effort into enhancements on this side for the building itself, but to put it all in the landscape and paving and the parking lot, and then someday the building can expand there, hopefully. And then a quick aerial shot of the building here. So I have some additional slides speaking about the specific items that we had requested. Now, we went and got special permit already, and then we went to DDRC and presented all of this to them, and it came back approved with the recommendations for these few select items on the variances that we needed to run by with you guys. So the first one was the setback, and you can start to see that in the main entry there along Robinson. There's these large or deep plaza spaces. These obviously were intended to hold lots of people for in and out after shows and before shows, bus drop-offs, other things, as well as setback is also on the north and the south side, pedestrian movement through these areas to get people to the front of the building. So I'm just letting you guys see some different images here that you start to see the surface parking lot there to the south, how that relates to the overall landscape site plan. And then there's just a series of slides here showing some different views of some of these plaza spaces and setback areas where drop-offs and entries occur. So this is the big main entry plaza. It's roughly 90 foot deep from the curb line back to the doors. We've got trees and plantings and benches and other things through here, and the intent is to let this be a place for people to come out and not feel too close to the curb, have any safety issues or anything like that. And then you can see this is the southern entrance, the canopy there in the bottom right-hand corner, and how it steps back to create kind of a smaller space, just like the big one in the middle. Keep going, please. And then 4th Street, you can get some views on the top right and bottom right there of what it looks like, this wider pathway or walkway that can be used as plaza space and other things. Again, part of the setback issue. Allowable signage for our project. So we, obviously being such a large building, signage is very important to help people understand their way around, to know where they're going, to not be confused or get lost on the site and inside the building. So this particular sign is larger than I think the regulations allowed, but was recommended because of its size and the size of the parking lot that they are going in. It helps people know their way around and orient themselves quicker. And then the next set of signs are here's the next slide, a series of pylon signs that hold a lot of different information and elements to them. There's 4 of them along Robinson Street. Robinson is our longest frontage, and it's over 600 feet long for that, basically 2 city blocks. So we've got 4 of them strategically located throughout the drive there for visibility. They also help, they've got signage, digital display in there for help advertising and promoting events, so we want those to be out close to the road so people can see them. There's lighting built into these pylons that help shine up and illuminate the underside of the tall canopies above, and obviously all the wayfinding and directional information that would be there to direct someone to an entry or other things. And then just a series of views showing these pylon signs in different locations throughout the building, so you can click through these. These signs are roughly 20 feet tall. They're meant to be pretty prominent, but there's only 4 of them over a long span, and I think the regulation said we could go, 3 was okay, but 4 put us over the limit to where we had to come see you guys about it. And then the last item was the screen wall. You can see it there a little zoomed in better, what you asked before. The screening up top of the mechanical units up on the roof, and then this longer stretch at the bottom, which would be 11 foot tall, to help screen people. Obviously, future development hopefully happens east of our project along Shields and others, and we just wanted to be mindful of what's in there and big trucks and that kind of thing. And then here's the kind of some technical drawings of those items. So any questions on those or anything else?
Board members, questions? Is there anyone here that wants to be heard on this matter today? I don't see anything unique or peculiar. I mean,
It's just a big building.
yeah, I mean, it's like 500,000 square feet. It's pretty typical day. I'm not. It's actually. I mean, you have to admit there's a little irony there with the number of variances that are needed to make this happen. But I think that pretty well exemplifies in and of itself how unique of a facility this is in this area. It's just not. The ordinances are not designed to account for a 500,000 square foot convention center that's going to be a public meeting space. So, pretty clear to me.
Ready for a motion?
Ready for one.
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14430. Please cast your votes, please. And the application is approved.
Thank you for your time today.
Item 10, case 14431, request for variance to minimum 24-foot maneuvering space, maximum 20 feet and one-story building height, within 35 feet of an agricultural district located at 3401 East Memorial Road.
Hello, my name is Spencer Jividen, 3401 East Memorial, the owner and occupant of the property. So I was here today to ask for these variances for the building height and the parking lot distance.
Tell us a little bit more about the history in your application.
We originally hired our first contractor under the standing that he saw our ideas and was going to follow through with them. Some of that stuff didn't come to fruition, and some stuff we weren't let known about, and we assumed that everything was, I guess, okay to move forward. So later on in the process, once we kind of got towards the end and getting stuff approved, we realized that some of the stuff had not been completed. We had let go of that contractor right after almost framing and bricking, and kind of ran into these additional things to get our final occupancy. One being the second floor and the width on parking lots, that distance between 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13.
How did it come to your attention that these variances hadn't been obtained before the construction got started?
How did that what?
How did it come to your attention that these variants had not been obtained before the construction was started?
Through our contractor and trying to go through and get the finals on everything, the framing, mechanical, electrical, to get our final occupancy. As of right now, we have a temporary occupancy. Everything is passed, even the stuff that is in this variance. Just so we can submit the second floor plans, we need this approved to get our final occupancy. And one of the issues was the site view of like peeping toms, I guess they would kind of told me, to the east, being an AA1 district or AA district. And I have a letter from Delmar Kennels that they have no objection to this. Can I bring that up? Sorry for that.
Pass that around if you...
And I had actually sent that to him a couple of weeks ago, but Mr. Delmar is a 91-year-old man and was not really capable of getting it to me sooner, but by coincidence, I had talked to his daughter today, and he was actually at the office, which is right next to us to the east, and I went over and talked to him, and really nice gentleman, and he was happy to have us there, and he signed the letter for us today.
The PUD that your zoning is based on, do you know what the base zoning district of that PUD is, out of curiosity? How's it zoned? How's the property zoned for the PUD? Do you know?
I'm not for sure. I don't have that. I can look it up. I have it on my phone, but I know it's a commercial subdivision, mine being Lot 2, Block 2, and then to the west is Lot 1 and 2, Block 2 of a commercial park.
And when you submitted when your first contractor submitted, they actually obtained a building permit?
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
How does that happen?
Well, do you know, did the first plan call for a second story? Did it
Yes.
show a second story?
It did, and in hindsight 2020, there's wish I would have looked at it more, but he called it mechanical.
There you go.
And later on in the process, mechanical doesn't work when you're trying to get your final permit.
Yeah.
Was there an architect on this project, or
Yes.
was it a design build?
Do what?
There was an architect of record?
Yes, sir.
Isn't that part of the responsibility of the architect?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty unfortunate. The reason I was asking about the base zoning is my suspicion is that this, it's zoned office. There was office contemplated here. Is there anybody here that wants to be heard on this matter today? Is there anybody waiting to hear?
Go ahead.
Clearly, the neighbors expected an office building, I think, and so the fact that it abuts what is technically an AA district, I think, is a little bit of an anomaly, because really what that is a commercial operation just operating within an AA zoning district. So the purpose of the code is not being frustrated, in my view, by what's being presented to us today, and that creates the exact reason why variances are here. So I certainly support your application. I think it's unfortunate what happened. I guess we learned a lot, but I'm in support of the application.
Well, I think what's unfortunate, too, is there's several places, where, the professionals that were serving the owner, did not do their job, it appears to me. And I think that's unfortunate. You were not well served by the people that you hired to do this.
And I'm a professional surveyor, so I understand that sometimes there's stuff that you need to tell your client or make them be aware of, and yeah, there was some stuff.
The architect should have known this. Your GC should have known it. The city, when they issued a permit. I mean, there were several places where this should have come to somebody's attention, and they should have brought it up. I regret it, but I'm going to support your application. I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14431. Please cast your votes, please. Your application is approved.
Thank you.
Sir.
Letter?
Oh, yeah, we need to keep it. Item 10, case number 14433, request of boardroom salon for men for a variance to the minimum 9 foot of clearance above grade for a projecting sign located at 5846 North Classen Boulevard.
Yes, hello, I'm Bruce Schultz. Our address is 5846 North Classen. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Boardroom Salon for Men. We are opening our 27th salon. We started in Texas. This is our second here in Oklahoma City. We're also in Edmond. When we submitted our plans to the to the landlord, our barber pole was approved. It's very iconic distinction of our brand. We have a very nice storefront, and the way the bar pole looks, for us, it's not really a sign. It's more of a brand. It sticks out 12 inches from the wall. Right now in this drawing here, it's sitting up with the top at 8 feet, the bottom's about 5 feet 3 inches. So it's in line with the door. The door opens up, so the chance of somebody walking into the barber pole is slim. And this year, we're going to do 500,000 services in our 26 salons open. and nobody in the history of our kind of salon, the last 14 years, has ever walked into a barber pole, and the barber pole will be lit at night. But we just like to have this very consistent, iconic look. I have some storefront pictures for you guys. Yeah, this is the picture of our store in Georgia. So you see, it looks very high-end. We're not going to be bringing down the value of the boardroom, of the market, of the center. We spend about $400,000 on the interior build-out. So it's a very nice product that we have, that we bring to market. We're the authority in men's grooming, the clear leader in our space, and really wanted to establish our brand up here in Oklahoma City as well.
Is that sign lighted?
Yes, sir.
Other questions, board members? My only thing is I think for it is unique. What you're doing there is unique. I think we could have a good discussion about whether or not it's really a sign. To me, it's more of an element, but that's okay. Code says it's a sign, so it's a sign. I would just be curious, would you object at all if we were to condition your variance on the fact that that is for use as a barber pole, so you can't replace that with something else down the road, like a...
Yeah, that's completely fine. There's no plan to ever replace that, so yes.
That was a condition, I think, that makes some sense just to preserve the intent of the ordinance, so... There's clearly no one else to be heard on this matter.
Yes.
I'd move approval with the condition that it remain a barber pole.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve case number 14433. Please cast your votes, please. The application is approved.
Thank you, guys.
Item 12 would be to adopt your schedule of meetings for the 2018 calendar year.
This is obviously just a housekeeping deal, but we just need to essentially approve this as the calendar for the regularly scheduled meeting, so I just need a motion for that.
So moved.
Second. I have a motion and a second to approve the calendar for the 2018 regularly scheduled meetings. Please cast your votes, please. Calendar is adopted. Additional items? Anybody have anything? No? Municipal counselor? None today. All right. Well, again, Sam, welcome aboard. We're glad to have you. And if there's no other business, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. Cast your votes. We are adjourned.